The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horsets. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acomb. We're broadcasting from the Hasselson studio, and in that virtual studio this morning, Congressman Nick Langworthy. It's great to see you.
It's great to be back with you, Frank.
We've got a lot to cover, but let's start with the best question we can ask. As we near July 4th, how are you going to be celebrating America 250, excuse me?
I'm going to be celebrating in our district. Obviously there's a lot going on here in Washington, D.C., but there's no better place I'd rather be than right at home with obviously our citizens across the district will be doing parades and have all of the normal festivities that make the 4th of July, one of our absolute favorite days of the year.
I'd like to own stock in fireworks this weekend. I know that.
There'll be a lot. I know Washington's going to have a ton, but so many of our communities are going to have just incredible displays, and this is just a day for all of us to celebrate this milestone. And we're just so lucky to be alive at the 250th birthday of our nation, and it's really special. And there's things going on here in our capital, but we're taking this opportunity to highlight our citizens, because this is not just about on the 4th of July. This is a year-long celebration. And as I talk to my team, is what is the best way that we can celebrate America 250 in our district? We came up with an idea that I think has gotten really good response so far.
Great. Yep.
We've created an award called America's Community Heroes, America 250 Community Heroes Award for our district. And we've asked everybody, and hopefully all the viewers at home will participate as well, to go onto our website and nominate that special person from your community that has gone above and beyond to make our community great. And it could be a coach, a volunteer firefighter, a mentor, and someone that goes above and beyond to volunteer in the community.
Right. Those
are the people that don't seek recognition, that aren't in the headlines, that we are going to take the opportunity this summer and have a series of incredible events across the district to honor them in their backyard, in front of their neighbors and their loved ones. Yeah. And we're really excited about it.
Kind of the unsung heroes in a way, the people that...
And that's really what we're looking to lift up, those people that never seek the recognition, but do all the work. And, I could think of many of them by name, just the people that I've had the honor to meet over the last 4 years while serving in Congress. And it's always, the select few that always go above and beyond. And those are the people we're looking to highlight, because what makes America great is its people. Exactly. And what makes our congressional district great is the wonderful people that live there.
Yeah, we were talking to Sheriff Jim Allard from Steuben County yesterday. He's already nominated someone. This is really getting a lot of excitement. A lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah, and we're really, going to put together some world-class events. I mean, it reminds me of when we honored America's Vietnam veterans.
Yeah, right.
And those across the district, and we did 4 different events across all the counties in the district to honor over 700 Vietnam veterans back a couple years ago. And it was absolutely one of the highlights of my time in public life, to be able to show the public respect and gratitude that those soldiers didn't get when they came home.
I know.
And we gave it to them in front of their loved ones. And 50 years later, they were able to get the respect and the gratitude that they deserved.
That was an amazing, touching event. I know the one locally, but like you said, you went throughout the district. So again, I think this is a brilliant idea. America 250 Community Hero Awards. Go to Congressman Langworthy's website so you can nominate someone. Do it today. And since we're having fun talking about some amazing things, you got to be honest with us. How was Highmark Stadium? What's it look like?
Highmark Stadium, it's a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
It is just everything. We had a lot of great memories in the old Ralph, but
I know that's tough.
It was tired.
Yeah.
And what's exciting is that we have the best stadium in America, and it's ours.
Yeah.
And it's not normally something in upstate New York that we get to celebrate. So it's really going to be a beautiful facility for our team to bring a championship home and hoist a Super Bowl trophy in the not so distant future.
That's right. Were you a part of the program when Hochul tried to awkwardly start that chant?
I was in the front row.
Oh, how uncomfortable was that?
It was just as uncomfortable as the clips.
How? I think it's only Governor Hochul that couldn't get Bills fans to start a Bills chant. I mean, you can walk down Market Street on a random Tuesday and you hear Bills chants.
I walk through the airport all the time. And, if I have a piece of Bills gear on or someone else, you greet people with the Go Bills. And it's great that, as the Bills have become more and more popular and Josh Allen has received the accolades he deserves, that you see that more often in airports, not just in our region, but across the country. And, it seems like we're able to get a little more spirit out of random strangers at airports.
Wow. That was a bomb. That was something to watch. I recommend anybody who hasn't seen it, go on and watch. And I hate the term cringe, but it's definitely cringe. I know that. All right, I wanted to mention quickly, because I know there's some moving pieces here, the bipartisan 21st Century Road to Housing Act. Tell us about that at a time when so many people are talking about housing.
Well, this is the first landmark housing bill that we've done in Congress since George H.W. Bush was president.
Wow.
And this directly addresses some of the affordability concerns in the fact that, young people in America are not able to achieve that critical component of the American dream because we don't have enough housing stock. We haven't built houses on spec largely in this country since the 2008 real estate collapse. When things were extremely overpriced, unqualified buyers were getting a note from their mom and getting a mortgage on a $500,000 home. But and we shouldn't go back to those days, but we do need to incentivize building. And this bill addresses that. It also is something that the president has really put a lot of pressure on Congress to achieve, which is get those hedge funds and institutional investors out of the space.
Right.
I mean, we don't need a hedge fund coming in and buying all the housing stock in a particular area and driving up the cost so young people can't afford to buy their home.
Right.
And we have to continue to find ways to make these transactions better. One idea that I've seen that we're researching getting on the bill is to make the capital gains, cap go up so that older people that are looking to downsize and perhaps rent don't have a huge tax bill as their asset has appreciated. I mean, your home is the most significant way to gain your net worth in your lifetime and build your nest egg and wealth. And many seniors are stuck because they don't want to have a huge tax bill at the end of it, as they may have bought the home for $50,000 or $60,000 40, 50 years ago. It's been paid off through just paying their mortgage diligently, and they deserve the full appreciation of that, not a huge capital gains exchange, especially if they're not buying another piece of property. Perhaps they want to rent in their senior years. So it would also allow younger people to enter the market and get into those houses that are their starter homes. And I think that's something that we have to continue to look forward. I don't think this is a mission accomplished, but this is a groundbreaking effort. When you have Elizabeth Warren working with President Trump, something has happened special.
Right.
And it kind of left the front pages a little too quick for my liking, and this should have been a bill that we had a landmark signing, but there's a lot of disagreement in Washington right now, surrounding the issue of voter ID, and it didn't have its day in the sun. It's going to become law whether the president signs it or not. He's pledged he's not going to veto it, but he should be taking a bow on this because he played a large role in it. But people on both sides of the aisle work together to get something big done for the American people. And I think it's something that we could all be proud of.
Well, you mentioned it kind of leaving the headlines too early. Do you think that is at a time when the media seems to want to sow this division? We keep talking on this program. I think every single day we've had a new poll telling us how Americans aren't proud of America or whatever, leading up to July 4th. Do you think it's a part of that? They don't want to see bipartisan work?
I don't think. I in this particular instance, I mean, trust me, the media loves to sow division.
Right.
But it makes for better TV when people are fighting than when they're getting along.
Right.
I tell people every day there are plenty of instances in small ball bipartisanship. I work with, upstate Democrats on
Sure.
priorities in the appropriations process, whether it's Congressman Morelli or Congressman Kennedy. But these aren't headlines,
Right.
events. These are something that's going to be in the prime time.
Right.
But it's just doing our jobs and having mutual respect for our districts and understanding that we got to lift up upstate New York and Western New York and the Southern Tier. It takes collaboration to do that.
Yeah.
And it's our job. It's what we took an oath to do.
Right.
So it's not always on the front page when we are working together, but when we're fighting, by God,
it's everywhere. Absolutely. Another thing that you've been working on, and then I want to get into some local stuff and then some kind of big picture items, but we've all followed closely with Vice President Vance and his fight against fraud, and recently you had the anti-fraud legislative package. Could you tell us a little bit about that and what that means for the viewers?
Well, we have to address the money that's being stolen from our government.
Right.
I mean, this is something I hear from constituents every single day. They're fed up. Mm-hmm. They know states like New York, who are extremely generous with our social welfare,
right,
that there's fraud going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see it. I believe that we need to have a strong safety net to take care of the most vulnerable, mm-hmm. but it shouldn't be a lifestyle choice.
Exactly.
And we sure shouldn't tolerate fraudsters setting up shop and dreaming up ways to steal.
Right.
And there's been so many instances in the state of Minnesota, put it on display for the whole country, mm-hmm. where largely the Somali-based population in Minneapolis mm-hmm. Set up all of these daycares, and there were no children there.
Right.
And they did this time and again. I mean, to the tune of $9 billion.
Right.
This isn't petty theft. Mm. This is one of the greatest grand larcenies that's ever happened in the nation's history. Mm-hmm. The problem is we had whistleblowers come to us in the Oversight Committee and tell us that they've been crying for it for years, that it's a well-known fact in the streets of Minnesota that this is going on. Yeah. And as they reported to the authorities, nothing happens. Mm-hmm. Tim Walz and the Attorney General knew damn well what was going on because the state senators were coming forward with evidence, but they ignored it. Now, why did they ignore it? Well, I believe for political purposes, because in the populations that were stealing with both hands, mm-hmm. they got 95% of all the votes cast out of that population. Yeah. So let them steal, and they'll keep voting for us.
Think about that for the taxpayer.
It should be criminal. Yeah. It should be something that leads to your impeachment from public office. Mm-hmm. It's led to Tim Walz leaving public life at the end of the year because he can't seek re-election in his own state. Yeah. Now, Minnesota is the tip of the iceberg. Imagine what's under the surface in states like California and New York. Mm-hmm. I mean, New York does not police its Medicaid system. I mean, they are not serious about fighting Medicaid fraud. There are instances of our local sheriff's offices and DAs doing a pretty good job uncovering some of it. I see those headlines coming out of my counties in the Southern Tier all the time. But in terms of what's going on in the 5 boroughs in New York, mm-hmm. In Brooklyn and in Queens, I mean, there is a cottage industries of figuring out ways to game the system. There was an instance in the state of California where LA County had 1/3 of all the hospice facilities, here set up to give people a dignified end of life, mm-hmm. free of pain. And 1/3 of them were in one county in one state. Right. Now, that set off alarm bells. I mean, I met with Dr. Oz last week, and we were going through a lot of the details of that. But as soon as they got onto it and shut the payments off, the vast majority of those entities never inquired about where their money was. They knew they had been
caught. Yeah. And
they just are looking to disappear into the ethos at this point. So we have to shut the door on fraud. What largely we're looking to achieve in the packages that we put forward so far is this. Put the fraud investigation on the front end, because once the money's out the door,
it's gone.
You're not going to get it back.
No. I mean, we know in Minnesota they send it overseas.
Yep. It's going into organized crime. This is this is never going to be seen again by the American taxpayer. I mean, we're still prosecuting people for PPP fraud
Right.
6 years later, after, long after the pandemic's over with, when the government was shoveling money out as fast as it could. And that was the priority, as Dr. Oz has explained it, of the Biden years, with the department, the CMS, which is under Health and Human Services, that handles Medicaid and Medicare. That they said, sign everybody up, get them all qualified as quickly as possible, and get the money out the door. It wasn't, let's verify eligibility.
Right.
These programs, I believe, we need a strong safety net to take care of the absolute most vulnerable that can't take care of themselves.
Right.
And we should do that, and it should be robust. But not one person that doesn't qualify for that should get those benefits.
No.
And it's only for the truly vulnerable in our population. It shouldn't be a lifestyle choice, and it should not be something that has loopholes where fraudsters can get in, set up fake organizations to cash in.
Right. And I also want to mention on the local level, and then I got to ask you about the rise of Democrat Socialism in America. I got to ask you about this. But for all our friends that are watching in Jasper, Troopsburg, we finally got the FEMA funding, thanks to you, the $60.5 million. But I love the fact in this, and this is what people have wanted me to pass on to you, that it's not just about rebuilding, it's about ensuring as best as we can that this never happens again.
And that's really important because, that was, I'll never forget going there the day after the flood.
Right.
And, driving around with Sheriff Allard and so many of our elected officials like Joe Sempolinski and Tom O'Mara, and, seeing this school that had just gotten cleared to reopen, totally destroyed again. And it would be so foolish to just try to, put them in the same spot. I mean, there are storms that are going to happen.
Right.
There are changes that hopefully New York State will wake up and try to make to allow locals to handle their creek bed management better and not be so focused on minutia. The DEC has been very invasive to our local communities, especially our small towns in the rural parts of New York. But this, they deserve a school that can be safe from a flooding event. A school in a small town, in a series of small towns like that, is the community center.
Yes.
It's the fabric that keeps it together. And the fact that those students have been spread out and disjointed for years is a disservice to all the communities affected.
I agree.
So this is what FEMA is there for, to prevent things from happening again, even after a disaster. Right. So I'm happy to play the role that we played, and that Jasper Troopsburg's going to get a brand new, beautiful school that they deserve.
Right. I like that I'm about to bring up the worst thing at the end, and when we brought up all the good things. But let's talk about the rise of the Democrat Socialists of America. Obviously, a little over a week now from primaries, and the way it's being presented is that this is kind of the rise of the socialists. What do you see? Because you're going to have, it looks like, some DSA members in the House come November.
This is Zoran Mandami's party now.
Yeah,
he is the leader, and he presents socialism or communism with a big grin on his face, and he tries to present himself as a happy warrior. But they're trying to transform our nation.
Yes.
I mean, you listen to the values that these candidates have presented in their public record, and it's not love of country, it's not devotion to our democracy. It is, in fact, the opposite. There's people that have expressed disrespect to our nation. I mean, the one candidate coming to Washington next year said, "I can't find a napkin. I just use the American flag hanging behind me."
Think about that.
I mean, think about, we're at America 250, and we are going to have someone like that as a lawmaker in our nation. Last night in Colorado, a 30-year Democratic incumbent who I serve on Energy and Commerce with. She is a radical liberal.
Right.
I bet you we haven't cast 5 votes the same way in my entire time in Congress.
Right.
Yet she was defeated by someone that is 29 years old, that is absolutely off the rails, and a card-carrying member of the Democratic Socialists. This is not the Democratic Party of JFK or FDR that our grandfathers joined because they said that the Democratic Party was the party of working people.
Right.
That is gone. That does not exist anymore. And you're seeing the tale being told on primary day, where it is America last, open borders, a demand for socialism,
and a police, no
disrespect
police
to our history.
Yeah, they want to end police. They want to get rid of prisons, right? And then let's really get down to the brass tacks too. This rise in anti-Semitism. They're saying the things now that in the past there was whispers of. Now they're saying it out loud on a platform.
They're screaming it.
Yes,
they're screaming it.
Yeah.
They don't just want us to not financially support Israel. They want us to support Israel's attackers.
Right.
And listen, there's been a lot of concern. Obviously, we wanted to see all wars end. I don't want war in the Middle East. I didn't want it in Gaza, and I didn't certainly want to see us enter a war with Iran, but we couldn't afford to let Iran take on nuclear weapons. I'm not so sure that these people in question that are going to become members of Congress support America in a war with Iran.
No.
I mean, the largest state sponsor of terror that the world's ever known.
Yeah.
I mean, they view Iran as the oppressed at this point. It's insane.
It's
absolutely insane. The people that have murdered people and their own people,
right, for
generations. I mean, the reason that we didn't see regime change in Iran, even though there were so many protesters in the streets,
right,
is because they were executed. They were executed
right
before the bombs ever flew. And it just showed that there's no value for human life with the people that run those countries and those regimes that oppress their people. Right. Yet they're held up to a high standard by this democratic socialist group.
It's terrible.
So there's no longer two parties that support the state of Israel. There's only one. And it's a scary time. There's anti-Semitism is at the front burner.
What do you think, just before we go, what do you think this means after November, of course, going into January? What does this mean for Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer?
They're going to really have their hands full.
Yeah.
This is, people have tried to liken it to the Tea Party. Well, the Tea Party was an organic movement of people that tried to change the value set in basically recenter the Republican Party to focus on the needs of working people.
Right.
And it was successful. And it ultimately led us to a place where we're no longer jumping in and adopting all the free trade agreements to send our jobs overseas.
Right.
It reconnected us with the realities of working class and middle class people in this country. And I'm far more comfortable with that than the era of the Republican Party that was focused on the country club and the elites. Because I don't represent the elites. I represent real people, authentic Americans in the heartland of New York. And I'm proud of that fact. That's where I come from, and that's where I've spent my whole life.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this, and I'm sure Hakeem Jeffries is a little nervous about where this all ends, but
he should be.
He should be. But I think that does it. One last thing, we got to ask about the Beagle Freedom Project. Tell us about it. This is your baby.
Well, listen. It was brought to my attention by my wife finding posts on social media about people taking matters in their own hands to free these dogs from this site at Ridgeland in Wisconsin, where there were 2,000 beagles being bred for medical experimentation and slaughter.
Yeah,
beagles. I mean, here's an animal that could just as easily be curled up on your sofa,
I know,
and be the family pet, and it's being treated inhumanely from the moment it's born. I mean, these dogs had never touched grass.
Yeah.
I mean, I met 8 of these beagles by a rescue group in Western New York that brought them from Wisconsin, and these beagles are all over America at this point. This is the year of the beagle.
Yeah, that's right.
But they're bred for these experiments because their nature is so trusting and forgiving. So you can hurt them and you can harm them, and they will still come to you. I mean,
heartbreaking
examples of you keep injecting them in the same spot in the paw, and they lift the paw up to you. These are things I don't think that's been socialized with the American people nearly enough, that we are using these dogs for torturous testing, dogs and cats for that matter. And then after I got involved and started inquiring, because I immediately came to the office and said to my staff, we're going to get to the bottom of this and see how we can make a difference.
Right.
I'm on the committee of jurisdiction at Energy and Commerce, and there's a site right in our backyard in Wayne County that's 10 times the size of Rigland.
Wow.
It is the largest in America. And I've been to Wayne County dozens of times in my life.
Yeah.
I had no idea this existed. Many people that I've talked to that live there have no idea that it's there. And you have 110 employees at Marshall Bioresources. They have 60,000 animals under the roofs of those buildings. There is no way that they're being treated humanely. I think it's in a state that's supposedly so progressive, New York, where the state legislature has banned vocal cord clipping on dogs, declawing of cats. We have been forward on animal rights. We're allowing this to happen in our backyard. And it's going to take, researching as to how to make the real difference. First off, I want to cut off the federal funds for the experiments. I want to change the culture at the FDA so, we're not taking healthy animals that are in the test, to get placebo, and they're being executed just like the dogs that have received tremendous amounts of medication on a horrifically torturous level. We are at a point in science in our country where we don't need this animal experimentation. It's cruel, it's unusual, and it should not be tolerated in this country. So I'm going to keep going with that fight, but we also need state legislative partners to join this fight as well, because many of the laws governing sites like Marshall Bioresources are unfortunately on the state's jurisdiction. And we need, I've heard from people from all 50 states at this point, and this is united a lot of people, no matter what party affiliation you have. Dogs and cats are our pets.
Right.
Shouldn't be treated this way.
Well, Congressman Nick Langworthy, thanks for giving us so much time this morning. Of course, we all wish you a happy Independence Day, and we do appreciate it.
Have a wonderful Independence Day, everyone.
Thanks, Nick. All right, we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.